Hello, welcome to KitPlus Daily. We hope you're well and continuing to enjoy the shows.
Yeah, we've made a lot of effort perfecting the show and we think we're there now. Don't forget to check out previous shows on the YouTube playlist though. We've covered lots of topics and had some great guests.
We have indeed, and today is no different. We will be talking to Frameio, who are a new partner to the Daily, and will be using their platform going forwards to move all our video content around. We have the CEO and co-founder Emery Wells waiting in the wings with us right after the news.
In Finland, Rohde Schwarz has announced the successful completion of a DVB-T2 terrestrial TV transmitter network. It's an upgrade that spans the entire country. Working with Helsinki-based Digita, who's the owner and operator of Finland's terrestrial network for national TV and radio transmission services, Rohde Schwarz has supplied more than 80 UHF HD transmitters across the country. The first phase became operational early this year, enabling Digita to expand their pay TV UHF terrestrial networks by up to 90% coverage. In addition, Digita reports significant enhancements in power efficiency and redundancy concepts throughout the HD TV network.
And Telestream has helped create major efficiency in the quality control QC testing of more than 500 hours of HD, UHD and HDR content that has been nominated for China's Golden Sale Awards. Armed with Telestream's Aurora QC system, the judges were able to test and confirm the quality of the HD, UHD and HDR content in a fraction of the time the process took in previous years. What the experts discovered was that in excess of 95% of the entries, the Aurora measurements were consistent with waveform monitor measurements. This synchronicity enabled these expert engineers to assess much more content in a far shorter time with better consistency.
And finally, if you want to up the quality of your images captured on your Mavic drone, then check out this set of Tiffen ND polarizer filters designed to elevate the 4K images shot on the DJI Mavic Air 2 to a professional caliber. Using neutral density and polarizer filters offers drone pilots a control over their footage and clarity that exceeds any off-the-shelf look and takes it to a Hollywood level. The kit for the DJI Mavic Air 2 will dramatically improve the quality by controlling light through neutral density and polarizing filters for a true cinematic look. So using neutral density and polarizer filters gives image makers the creative flexibility for more dynamic content that will help them stand apart from others.
If you're a regular viewer of the show, you'll also know that this is brought to you with the support of Media Proxy, who, as you may already know as well, is the global leader for all things compliance with over 20 years in the business and over 15,000 channels deployed in over 60 countries. They are the trusted partner in the industry for logging, monitoring and analysis of linear broadcast and OTT.
What you may not know, though, is that LogServer features extensive tools around digital program insertion, detection and monitoring. Support includes SCSI 104 as well as Type 5 and 6 SCSI 35 messages. Triggers can be monitored live, reviewed and analysed as well as reconciled in real time against second screen events.
And if you're looking to replace your Volocon system, team up with the global leader in compliance. For more information, check out their website. Now it's time for our special guest.
And we are joined today by Emery Wells from Frameio. Welcome to the show, Emery. Nice to see you. And first things first, let's get a brief intro to Frameio and talk about what's just been announced.
Sure. So Frameio, for those that are not familiar, is a video review and collaboration platform. We combine high-speed file sharing, work in progress review, and communication into one cohesive platform. So for any type of video team that's making video, needs to work with others, collaborate with others, Frameio is the platform to do that. We did just have a great new release, Frameio 3.6. And there's sort of two major themes. The first is that we launched a new app actually called Frameio Transfer, which is a cross-platform desktop app that handles accelerated file transfer. Right now, it's for download out of Frameio, In fact, we released this a little bit earlier than we initially anticipated. This was not a product that we were planning on releasing until later in the year. But due to all the COVID stuff and everybody working in a distributed fashion, we decided to get this out in beta. So one of the things that Frameio has always been known for is our accelerated file uploader. It's one of the things that our customers love, that they tweet about. It's a very real and popular sort of aspect of Frameio. But one of the challenges people have had is getting these large files out of Frameio. And that's because in a browser, which is Frameio's browser-based, the browser handles downloads, doesn't do a very good job. So we released this Frameio transfer app, cross-platform desktop, which will do accelerated file transfers on the download. And of course, you can download complex folder structures, really whatever you have in Frameio. And one of the very cool features of Frameio transfer is that we have EDL and XML support for download, which means if you've uploaded all your source footage into Frameio and maybe you've done an offline edit and you need to send that footage to somebody else to do the online, well, they don't need all of the footage. They only need the footage that was used in your edit. So you can download via EDL or XML, and it'll download just the files that were used in the offline edit. So pretty cool. This Frameio transfer will be sort of the future hub for file transfer in and out of Frameio. But again, the initial version of Frameio transfer in beta is focused on the download experience. So that's Frameio transfer. And then in addition to that, we also have some great new features in our core product. And the first is, Frameio is all about sharing. It's a collaboration platform. So we added a lot of features to sharing. The first is you can now share folders in Frameio, which sounds pretty simple, but we haven't had the ability to share subfolders in the past. So if you were to share a collection of items, it would just sort of appear on one flat, page. Now you can share folders. If you share a folder out and then you change something within the folder in Frameio, that gets reflected in the share. Been a long time requested feature, so really happy to finally get that out. We also added a bunch of security features to sharing, and security has been central to our offering from the very beginning, but we made it even more secure. So you could always add a password to any share link that you sent out, but now you can share with only specified email addresses, similarly to how you might share in something like Google Docs. If you specify, I only want these particular people to have access to this share, that does require that those people log in and authenticate. But when they authenticate, you'll know for sure that it's only the appropriate people that have access. And with that, we have a new feature that we call Watermark ID, which is the ultimate layer of visual file security. So Watermark ID, it's very cool. It was probably more than a year in the making. And what we do is when you send out a share link and that person presses play, we do a real-time and on-demand transcode with their personally identifying information burned into every single frame. So their name, IP address, timestamp, email address, whatever information you choose. This is all dynamic information, which means that file doesn't exist until that person presses play. And of course, you don't want to sit around and wait for a transcode if you're trying to play it, right? So we do it real-time, on-demand. If it's a 2-hour video, it'll start playing back in less than 2 seconds. And if they come back an hour later and hit play again, it's another real-time transcode because it's a real-time timestamp that's burned into every frame. So really, really good solution for people that are hyper security focused. We also launched some great features on our iOS app. We have offline mode. Folks aren't traveling a lot right now. They're not on planes, but when we are back on planes, if you want to be able to watch videos in Frameio without an internet connection and have a whole review session, you can do that now with offline mode.
Fantastic developments. That's brilliant.
That's a lot going on there. And obviously you've touched there on the current global crisis we're going through. The industry's been forced to respond quickly and embrace remote work, which is enabled by cloud-based workflows like Frameio. What do you think this means for the industry post-COVID?
Post-COVID for the industry, I think that what this is doing is it's proving that this is remote work is nothing new. It's been happening in sort of like all the knowledge work fields have been, increasingly working in more distributed fashion. But for filmmaking, post-production, it's happened to an extent, but I think this has obviously forced us all to just work in this way. And I think what's happening is that it's being proven that this work can be done distributed. There are some challenges. but those challenges can be overcome. And so I think in a post-COVID world for post-production, we're going to see, the acceptance of more distributed work, perhaps more facilities that are, not focused on a brick and mortar location. I think it's really just accelerating the adoption of cloud. All the post-production work was already headed towards more adoption of cloud, but our industry, post-production, media and entertainment, it's actually a very conservative and slow-moving industry. And this is really just kind of thrusting it forward. We were already sitting at the precipice of kind of the next major step function in the way that video gets made, which is a complete adoption of cloud-based tools. And I think that eventual adoption, which is, it's a curve we're going through, it's going to take a few more years, which COVID is accelerating. But, when we are fully adopting the cloud for the way that we make video and do post-production, it'll have as profound an effect on the way we work as the transition from analog to digital. So I think that's the sort of zone and phase that we're living in. We were already there, and COVID is just accelerating it.
So Emery, obviously we talked a lot about Frameio, and a lot of people know it for, it's a web interface, and you can upload and download videos and review them, etc. But there's a lot of application integration with Frameio as well. You've got an API out there. Other people can integrate with Frameio. Tell us a little bit about how and what Frameio is integrated with.
Sure. So we have kind of the first party integrations are the ones that we've built with some of the creative tools. And then we have partners that have built integrations using our API. So from very early on in Frameio's history, we really focused on integrating with the creative tools. So we integrate with Final Cut, Premiere, After Effects. Those are our first party integrations. And then, DaVinci Resolve has built a phenomenal integration. It utilizes our API, and it's sort of just natively built into Resolve, which gives you, a really fantastic user experience. There's nothing new to download. And I think that is one of the things that, folks are not always as aware of. The integrations with the creative tools really do transform the way that you work. If you're in Premiere, you can, with one or two clicks, you can just upload your current timeline into Frameio. Then everyone will automatically get a notification. When those folks get a notification, they start reviewing it, leave comments. Those comments will appear directly inside of Premiere in real time. You can click on a comment. It actually takes you to that point in the Premiere timeline. So, the review cycles in a traditional sense, and especially in a distributed world, really required that, you had time to maybe sort of schedule a time where you could sort of synchronously be on a call together, or pre-COVID when you could be in person together, scheduling that, getting everyone together, going over the notes, all those cycles could have taken hours, days, weeks even. But with our integrations, you can have these workflows where you sort of essentially have kind of a real-time connection, right? With one click, I upload my timeline, it's up. People get a notification, they can open on their phone, they can open on an iPad, they can open on a web browser, they watch. They leave a comment, comments timestamped on the frame, says, I don't like this shot. Or can we try a different shot here? Okay, no problem. I got that notification in real time. I click it, takes me to that shot in Premiere, in my timeline, or maybe I've already stacked a few alternative shots because I knew this was going to be discussed. I swap the shot, I hit upload again, it automatically versions, person gets a notification, new version up, I watch it and I say, love the shot. And those mechanics are if you weren't just sort of sitting in a room together, those mechanics might have taken you hours or days if you were trying to figure out how to schedule time and be working more synchronously. So these integrations are key. And as you said, we launched our API last year, which is public and available, means anybody can build an integration into Frameio, into their products. And we've had some fantastic partners build really good integrations. Luma Touch with Luma Fusion, Shopper Pro, as you mentioned. There's some really good integrations out there.
Emery, that's great. Been fantastic to hear more about Frameio and the latest updates as well. Thank you very much for coming on the show. It's been a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you, guys. It's a pleasure to be on.
Thank you, Emery, for taking the time to come on the show. And we're looking forward now to using the Frameio platform over the coming weeks and months on the KitPlus Daily. Do check it out for yourself, though, on the link below.
Yeah, with a bit of luck, we might have time to do our own user review. And speaking of which, for more user reviews, do check them out on the link below. And don't forget, we are still offering £100 for those that we use.
Some great reviews on there as well, so do check them out. Well, that's it from us today. We'll see you next time.